What's up, everybody? We're back in action and live and branded up. I'm feeling good, looking good here in the Cassius Morris official merchandise, which will be dropping very soon, so make sure to stay updated for posts on that. However, today we're jumping over to a much more serious topic as the never-ending odyssey of Sean Diddy Combs sadly continues. Today we're going to be talking about the bail offer that his legal team has made to the courts in the case of Sean Diddy Combs. And we're also going to look at some of the brand new details about Diddy, including Ray J speaking out about the fact that celebrities have been reaching out to him, talking about their compromising situations with Diddy. So hopping in, we're going to look at this $50 million bail offer that is being proposed by Diddy's legal counsel. A pretty whopping amount, so let's take a look at all the details involved. And before we jump in, make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to help get this stream rolling. So this past Friday, this was proposed by Diddy's legal team. It was a $50 million bail and a gag order for people involved in the case. Now, the first thing that happened here when Diddy requested this offer was that the gag order was immediately, they said no. Okay, so they denied the gag order right off the bat. Now, the other terms that were proposed in this $50 million bond include home detention in either Miami or New York City, security lockdown for Diddy, so Diddy basically being monitored by 24-hour security all throughout his home, no matter where he is, whether it's in Miami or New York City. So basically like the reverse of a security detail. Like, these guys usually have a security detail on commission to protect them. This would be basically a reversed security detail where they're making sure Diddy is actually being, kept in a place that's away from his victims. So that was part of the deal that was offered as well. Another condition of the $50 million bond would be no internet for P. Diddy. So we're talking no Wi-Fi access, no cellular access whatsoever for Sean Puffy Combs. There was plenty more that they also put into this offer as well. And this is the new get out of jail move apparently being proposed by Diddy. Now, this also addresses the concerns that Diddy, if he was to get out of jail, would intimidate potential witnesses through his staff. And that was the main concern that people had about Diddy if they were going to let him out of jail. They figured this guy was going to go back to his home, get on the internet, get on his cell phone, and start threatening people to keep quiet about this case. Because the one thing we have to remember is this. At the end of the day, yes, this case involves Diddy, and Diddy is the main focus of this entire lawsuit and these various suits. But there are so many other people being implicated in this that if Diddy was being, if he's given the time to get out of jail, and he's given the time to go and intimidate these people, or even get into their ear whatsoever, that could be hugely harmful in terms of the prosecution actually building a case. So their argument for not letting him out was, look, if we let him out, he's going to run amok. He's going to threaten witnesses with violence or threaten them with God knows what, try to put NDAs in their face, and he's going to get away from this. So Diddy's team countered again, and they said if we let him out, he will have no internet, and he will be watched 24/7. Now, it continues here. It says, under the proposed updated bail conditions, Mr. Combs would not have access to employees and friends of the like and would not speak with these employees. So basically, he would be cut off from all of the people who worked for him beforehand. So you picture the staff, right? You picture the butlers for a guy like Diddy. You picture all the people running his errands for him, the personal assistants, all these different people. So these people all are implicated in the freak-offs. These are all people who are implicated in the criminal charges. Because we have to remember, too, when you hear the stories about the freak-offs, it's not like only the guests were privy to this. If anything, Diddy's employees were actually more aware of the bad things that were happening because they helped cover it up. In the initial suits talking about the freak-offs, they broke down the fact that Diddy's people actually stocked up the rooms with the quote-unquote supplies for the freak-offs. They would stock the rooms up with baby oil. They would stock it up with rehydration for Diddy. Fresh towels and sheets in all the rooms so that the housekeeping wouldn't know there was crazy shit going on upstairs. That's just a little slice of what Diddy's people that he hired would do. So it makes perfect sense that the prosecution would say, look, you can't be released to your Miami home and then be surrounded by all the people who helped you commit these crimes. So it continues, for the foregoing reasons and to ensure a fair trial and protect Mr. Combs' constitutional rights, the court should order release on the proposed conditions of not having contact with his employees or any other conditions the court deems appropriate. So it looks like they're actually considering letting Diddy out of prison. For anybody who's just joining, Diddy's legal counsel is suggesting that they pay $50 million to have Diddy released and put back into his homes, living in luxury. Now here's the thing, guys. Here's my big issue with this. And, you know, there are many issues that I have with this, but let's break down a couple. Number one, it seems like Diddy is only now trying to run when really faced with the consequences of his decisions. We saw Diddy taking it pretty well when he first got into prison. We didn't hear too many complaints from him in the last couple of weeks. However, now that he's been in jail for quite a while, now that he's actually starting to get settled into jail, and really getting accustomed to living this new lifestyle, which he'll probably be living for the remainder of his lifetime, right? I mean, this is a guy who comes from private jets, mansions, 5-star resorts. He is now getting used to sleeping on a metal cot. He's now getting used to eating the prison food. He's getting used to his one phone call a day. And also not having people kiss his ass 24/7 and do his bidding. So it seems like at first he was all right. Now that he's actually getting used to this new life, which will be his life, it seems like he's starting to panic. And I gotta tell you guys, man, there's nothing I love more than seeing a piece of shit like this start to panic and start to worry. And personally, if I was the prosecutors in this case, I would actually take this as even more reason to keep this guy behind bars, okay? This is the main reason we need to keep him locked up, is because he needs to be held accountable for his actions. I don't want to hear that Diddy's in jail and he's enjoying it, okay? I don't want to hear that Diddy's in jail and he's comfortable. If I'm hearing that Diddy's in jail and he's uncomfortable and he wants to go home, that's exactly what jail is for. So, you know, I don't understand the fact that right after his birthday and right after he's starting to settle in, his legal counsel decides to say, okay, this is a good time to let people know we want to get out of here. You know, if I was them, I would probably try to play the long game. Look, they got a long time to go until trial. And trying to run away from jail in the beginning of your sentence, before you're even going to trial, is a terrible look all around. I'm no lawyer, okay? I'm no lawyer. I'm no legal expert. But this just goes to show that these guys want time. And they want time at home to be able to focus on what they're going to do to combat this case and hopefully get Diddy out of prison. So I don't see this happening. You know, they're also making different arguments to the case, to the court, trying to talk about the fact that evidence is being presented that may not be relevant to the actual charges being laid against Diddy. For example, Diddy's legal team have questioned the relevance of the courts showing the 2016 video in which he violently assaulted Cassie. Basically, the filing reads as follows. The video was not evidence of a coerced freak-off, but rather a minutes-long glimpse into a complex but decade-long consensual relationship between Mr. Combs and Victim 1. Now, Diddy has pleaded not guilty on all charges, but has already been denied bail by 2 different federal judges. This would be the third time that they're trying to get out with the $50 million bond. So this is absolutely insane. I'm trying to read the comments too, by the way. Here we go. I can read you guys' comments now. What's up, Z Corp? I hear you. You were into the election, back to business, brother. I hear you too. I was totally on the election stuff. But I usually do music, so I figured I'd hop back into some music content to talk about. Shout out to my guy from Turkey. We love you, Turkey. I have a lot of friends in Turkey. So it looks like there's a lot of creative tactics being used by Diddy's legal counsel here, which, look, as much as I say I have a problem with it, is not actually a surprise, right? I mean, look, if you're a millionaire and you're paying lawyers and a team of people to get you out of jail, I would hope that they're doing their best to get you out of jail. However, I definitely hope that Diddy is kept in jail. And here's the main reason why. There seems to be a lot of speculation as to whether or not this is going to go through because Diddy is very rich and very famous, okay? We all know that rich and famous people, when they end up going to jail, when they try to charge these people, when they try to put these people into trial, it is common knowledge that most of these people get let off easy because of who they are. Either because of who they are or because of the power that they hold. I think it would be a really nice thing to see if this case in particular, they didn't let him off easy and they made an example out of Diddy. Just in the same way they were going to do with Jeffrey Epstein before he got Epsteined or whatever happened to him. I see somebody in the chat mentioning Harvey Weinstein. I think the exact same thing. These guys should all be held to the full extent of the law, especially because they're celebrities. I think we need to change the narrative, guys. It used to be that if you were a famous and or rich person, you would have an easier time with the law. I would say that if you're a famous person, you should be held even more accountable due to the fact that so many people have been let off. And due to the fact that you have such a larger reach and scope of victims that you can, victimize given your power dynamic, given the fact that you have all this power and you used it. I think anybody who's trying to leverage power over victims should have power leveraged over them. That is the definition of justice. And that is the definition of a proper punishment and being held accountable. So to see Diddy get out in a couple of weeks would be really disappointing to me because I think he needs to be held accountable. And that goes with the change that we have in the world today. We need to see the change where people are not just going to get out because of the resources and the means that they have. Unlucky says the elite class think they're invisible. Absolutely. Unlucky, I completely agree. That's kind of what I'm talking about. These guys think they can do whatever they want and they're going to eventually get away with it. While that may have been true through the majority of history, I truly think we're in a time now where the whole illusion of celebrity is starting to fade. And I don't think we're going to see as many people pulling over, football players who are driving too fast and the cop lets them off because he likes the Dolphins. We're not going to see, the guy from the E Street Band get let off from a speeding ticket. We're not going to see these things anymore because it seems like the whole facade, the aura of celebrity now in 2024 leading into 5 is going away. We have seen so many people in 2024 be exposed for their true colors. So many people who we got to see the real dark side under that mask of celebrity, of what they actually are involved in, the sick and deviant things these people do. And I think that anybody logical, one of the main takeaways from 2024, I would say would be that we should not look up to celebrities. And there's a big difference between enjoying somebody's work and actually looking up to or idolizing celebrities. And I know a lot of people who've been guilty of it. I've been guilty of it. I think most people have at one point or another. But my prediction, especially for 2025, is that people are now able to draw the distinction between enjoying somebody's work and actually idolizing that person. Because there's so many bad things about most of these people. Just like there's bad things about everybody. There's bad things about you and me. So we're getting this sense of equality that's coming down now from Hollywood. All the way from the top down. It's being stripped down. And we're getting to see what these people are really up to. We're getting to see their flaws. We're getting to see the fact that in many cases, I'm not going to compare myself to Diddy, but I'm saying in many cases, everybody is flawed in their own ways. And there's no need to idolize or look up to celebrities. Now, I understand if you're a basketball player and you look up to LeBron for his work ethic. But what I would say is this, look up to his work ethic. Don't look up to him as a person. Okay? I could be super inspired by somebody. I think when you look at Diddy's business sense before, and this might get me canceled now, but if you look at his business sense before these atrocities came out, And if you were to look at Diddy's business mind away from all of that, I think there's a lot of inspiration to be taken away from it. The guy was an incredible businessman. And he was incredibly smart with the way that he moved in business. But you can appreciate that one thing while also understanding that he's a piece of shit person, right? You don't have to idolize the human being, Sean Combs, to see that he had a great work ethic. And I think this needs to be transferred to every single person that people are fans of. Just because you love The Weeknd's music, that doesn't mean you love The Weeknd, because The Weeknd is not his music. He's simply the author of songs that you enjoy. You know, if I go to Carbone Restaurant and I get the vodka penne, am I going to idolize the chef? No, I idolize the dish. I love the dish, but the chef is not the dish. My friends, it's over. No more idolizing celebrities in 2025. This is done. And I completely think that 2024 set us up for being on the right path to get away from the warship. Just like Cat Williams told us. You guys remember the beginning of the year, Cat Williams told us the dominoes are going to start to fall and we're going to see it for what it is. Get out the private jet, fly to Chile. Z Corp, I'm down, bro. If you got the private jet ready to go, I might have to wait a couple years to get mine. If you got the private jet ready, we'll jump on. Unlucky says there's news out here that it was all about blackmailing people. So yeah, Unlucky, there's definitely a huge element of that, and we're actually going to play a clip here now. This is a brand new interview with Ray J. Of course, I don't know, is Ray J a rapper at this point? How would you describe Ray J? A personality, I guess you could say. So speaking to the P. Diddy blackmail, this is Ray J talking about the fact that many celebrities have been in touch with him about the actual blackmail, and that this actually spreads a lot farther than people may realize. Let's take a listen.
Somebody has the truth, somebody pays you to keep it quiet, and hopefully that money that you got paid secures your happiness while you watch the lie continue to succeed.
I want to just make sure I understand you. What you're saying is, what, that you know people who have been approached by women, men, whatever, who have said, give me money and I won't talk?
Here's the other way around that, Harvey. I'll give you money, please don't talk.
You are a well-connected guy. Do you know that what you just described, is that going on now?
Yes. They want to talk to me. They want to talk to me about what happened to them. They call me. They feel like they can trust me.
Wait a minute. Calling you for what? Calling you for what?
Because they want to tell me about certain things that happened with them and Diddy.
Ray, I want to make sure I understand this. Are these high-profile people calling you because they've had some affiliation with Diddy that they don't want to come out, and they think you might be the vessel for it coming out? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying. And I don't even know why I just said it, but I said it, so what? Now they gotta be mad. Come get me.
Were they specific about what they did with Diddy?
I don't want to say. I think I said too much.
Ray J speaking on the fact that he is, I guess, heavily implicated in people who were involved with P. Diddy. Now, a couple things about this clip. The first thing to me is this seems like this whole special that we're seeing, that special that we looked at the clip from, it was produced by TMZ. This whole special seems like a great opportunity for TMZ and the people in it to prove they weren't involved with Diddy. You know what I mean? I mean, when you think about the amount of people who knew about this and the amount of information a source like TMZ knows, does anybody really believe that TMZ didn't know anything about this before it started happening? Because now they're making videos. I mean, the series is called Inside the Freak-Offs with P. Diddy. and it's a TMZ exclusive on Tubi. But I'm thinking, is TMZ just trying to cover their ass over the fact that they actually knew about this? Because again, TMZ knows when somebody fucking, wakes up and takes a piss in the morning. The idea that they wouldn't know that one of the biggest moguls in music and entertainment was doing some crimes, it doesn't make much sense to me. And this goes for the people who are guests on this show as well. So Ray J going on and talking about this, it seems like a good opportunity to get the heat off of his back. And I feel like what we're going to start seeing in the coming weeks and months with this Diddy case is a lot of people coming out for various different reasons with ulterior motives. So we're going to see people talking about this as if they weren't involved to try to clear their names. We're going to hear people talking about this as if they were involved to try to, be involved in some way to try to make money. And we're also going to hear from real victims and fake victims. Again, I feel like this started off pretty organically, hearing about some real stories, hearing, a lot of these testimonies. You hear about stuff with Cassie. There was lots of substantiated evidence to back these things up. So I feel like the whole Diddy case has started off fairly authentic. But what we're going to see now, guys, is we're going to start seeing a watering down of the facts. Because there's so many people on different sides of the aisle with so many motivations here. So telling the truth in a case like this, I would say for most people, is probably not the best option. And we're going to hear a lot of people saying things that are going to suit them in the coming months. Harvey Levin is sitting there like he didn't know anything. He's sitting there like this is new information to him. I would bet you my bottom dollar that Harvey Levin knew about this. And again, I got no disrespect to Harvey Levin. I have a lot of respect for what Harvey's built. I think TMZ is an impressive organization. I do. But come on, Harvey. You're a lawyer, bro. Don't sit there and look into the camera all shocked with your fake outrage and try to act like you didn't know there was freak-offs going on. Harvey Levin and TMZ 1000% knew. And most of these other people knew too. So that's really the case. That's what we're working with here. We're reading some of the new stuff that's been coming out too, guys, about the freak-offs. I mean, absolutely outrageous and shocking details coming from the freak-offs. Let's take a look at this story here. And these are all really, really disturbing claims, guys. So we're just going to read here for the some of the latest updates on the Diddy case. So a couple of days ago, John Legend's manager, these are all updates that came out. John Legend, his manager, has responded to what's happening with Diddy. And she wrote, quote, that she experienced a terrifying situation in which she says she was locked in a bedroom while attending a party hosted by Combs in St. Barth's in the late 1990s. And managed, hold on a second. I just lost my place. And managed to talk her way out of what she assumed was an abnormal experience, but later realized what happened that night was no aberration. It was an indicator of a pervasive culture in the music industry. So guys, remember what I was just saying a second ago. We're going to see a lot of people coming out with experiences to try to cover their ass. This seems like one of those to me, because John Legend is directly implicated in some of these suits as an aggressor. John Legend is implicated as a person who was victimizing people. I gotta be careful what I say. He might sue me next. Who was victimizing people at these parties. Now his manager wants to come out and say, I was at a Diddy party too, and I was victimized. Who does that make look like an innocent person? Ladies and gentlemen, John Legend. How genius. How convenient that the manager for John Legend was victimized by somebody else. But John Legend didn't do anything. Okay, that's awfully convenient, John Legend. And isn't it awfully interesting that John Legend, he hangs out with quite a crowd, doesn't he? John Legend has been implicated in how many different controversies in Hollywood? His wife has been involved in God knows what. I mean, the rumors about them as a couple, they're sickening. So why is it that if this guy is so innocent, he's always in the room when some evil shit's going down? That's what I don't get about John Legend. John Legend, the innocent singer. John Legend, the man with the voice. Always in the room when something evil is going on. Just like Jay-Z. Always in the room. Guys, I used to like Jay-Z. I used to be a fan of his music. If I'm in a room and I see Jay-Z or John Legend come in the room, I'm running out of that goddamn room. I'm going that way. Because these motherfuckers are always in the room when something bad's going on. Every single time without fail. Awfully convenient for an innocent person. Awfully convenient. So on November 3rd, Diddy's lawyer sent a letter to the U.S. District Judge Aaron Subramanian, definitely not saying that right, asking he place all potential witnesses under a gag order until the federal trial scheduled for May started, claiming a deluge of improper pretrial publicity that is undermining Mr. Combs' right to a fair trial. So, of course, that request for the victims to be gag ordered was denied. And what a brazen request, by the way, from Diddy's legal team. Because we have to remember, before this whole thing happened, Diddy had everybody involved sign NDAs, which are non-disclosure agreements, meaning they couldn't talk about anything that happened to them at the Diddy parties. And in these NDAs, it actually stated that you could not speak about anything that happened with Diddy until 20 years after Diddy's death. So the agreements they had with the victims before this actually prevented them from speaking not only throughout Diddy's lifetime at any point, but after Diddy was gone. Okay, so obviously when criminal activity happens like this and NDAs are implicated, NDAs are now, they become voided. Okay, so they're all void. So all the people who signed those agreements, they're now free to speak. What happens when they're free to speak? Diddy's team goes to court and asks for a gag order on the same people the law just liberated to speak. I mean, guys, I'm not a lawyer, but that doesn't sound smart, does it? I mean, what do you guys think? Like I say, they made them sign the NDAs already. It shows intent to hide things. It shows intent that they don't want people to share their stories. And the second they get to court, they request a gag order. I can't even imagine this person being a lawyer who passed the bar coming up with that shit. I can't wrap my mind around this. On November 8th, this is when Diddy's attorney again requested the mogul be released on a $50 million bail with a laundry list of new conditions, including, of course, the at-home detention, security lockdown, and no internet access. And on November 12th, yesterday, this is the latest update in the case. We're going to go back as well for some more. Ray J claims the high-profile celebrities, there are high-profile celebrities reaching out to him and offering them money, who've been offered money in exchange for avoiding any public exposure. So there you go, guys. That's ultimately the deal. Diddy is currently in jail. He's fighting to get out. He wants to be released. And again, my theory is that it's really starting to sink in for him now where he is and what the rest of his life is going to look like. We saw the video recently where it was his birthday, and Diddy had a phone call from his kids in jail on his birthday. And I think ever since we saw the birthday video, we have seen his legal team really getting aggressive to get this guy out. Because I think after having his birthday in prison, his birthday in a cell, that is probably done something to him mentally. Because we have to remember what this guy comes from. This guy comes from opulence and decadence and lavish lifestyle. I mean, P. Diddy was living good, with the exception of the crimes. I don't consider that good. But when you look at the quality of life that P. Diddy had, he was living phenomenally. And that is also one of the reasons I'm so confused by this case, because Diddy was obviously blessed with a great life. To go and throw it down the drain in the way that he did, to me, is absolutely disgusting, and it's a waste of your blessings. Because why would you trade a 5-star hotel, a resort, a mansion in every city that you want? Why would you trade that for a cot on a wooden floor or a fucking metal bed? Why would you trade that? It doesn't make any sense because the guy is evil. There's no logical sense as to why he would do what he's done. There's no logical sense why you would trade being the biggest mogul in the hip-hop industry, one of the only black billionaires in America, one of the only billionaires in the hip-hop business. Who do we have? Jay-Z, Dr. Dre, Diddy. Beyonce, maybe. She's not even a rapper. To trade that for something that, by the way, you could have got without using evil. That is the part that always hits me. If P. Diddy wanted to just have sex parties all day, consensually, he could have done that. He could have done it. And if nobody was harmed, it would have been fine. Right? Like, look, just hear me out for a second. Imagine if Diddy had the freak-offs consensually. I don't have a problem with that. If nobody's being victimized, if nobody's being hurt, that's cool. Because let me tell you this, 99% of these celebrities are doing the same shit. They're all hedonistic people. They do a lot of drugs and they like to fuck. Let's just get real here. This is what celebrities do. That's why most of these people become rich and famous and they try to attain all this power. Is because they're hedonistic, they like to drink, do drugs, and fuck. That's fine if you're doing it consensually. And Diddy could have done it consensually every single day. But the same with Harvey Weinstein, the same with Bill Cosby, the same with Diddy. They wanted to do it non-consensually. They wanted to do it with the use of drugs because they are evil. Simple and plain. I think the sooner people understand that there is evil in this world, the more sense a lot of things are going to start to make. Again, I'm not a big religious guy. I'm not a big spiritual guy. I'm not any of that. I'm not that guy. But there is evil in this world, my friends. And I think that part of the theme of 2024, this year, this crazy year that we had, was exposing a lot of that evil. Because it's a very, very real thing. And it never ceases to shock me how far people will go just because it's inherently inside them to be bad people, to be monsters, to victimize other people, to get off on suffering. I've never understood it. I never will. But that's where Diddy is, and that is what seems to be happening right now. There was also this story here, some more details from the freak-off parties. So a woman who attended Diddy's freak-offs says that he had minors so young at the party that she actually mistook them for little people. That is what this woman here is reporting. And we're going to load this story right now. It's just loading up. Everybody in the chat, real quick, by the way, make sure to hit that like button. It's up above on your mobile, or double tap your screen. Gets the stream going. I really appreciate everybody showing love with a like and subscribe. So, aspiring musician Tania Wallace is the person who spoke about this next story. And she says that she was trying to get involved with Diddy to advance her career. Now, the thing is, most of the people who were involved with Diddy on the level to which they were victimized were in similar scenarios. These were all people who were up-and-coming artists. These are all people who were trying to build their careers. Hence why a lot of this came out later. You know, and that's one of the sad parts about people like this having control. On the same hand that they can offer you opportunities through going along with what they do, they can also threaten you by saying they're going to take away opportunities as well. And that is why we maybe don't hear a lot of this stuff as early as we should have heard it, why it wasn't reported in due time, is because at the end of the day, there's a selfish layer to this as well. These people who were trying to make it and might have seen something weird with Diddy, they didn't want to throw their whole career away for P. Diddy, okay? They wanted to continue and have the shot at having a career. And that, my friends, is the big problem with this case. But let me get into these details. So Tania Wallace is claiming that she witnessed minors who she described as little people at a 2018 party hosted by P. Diddy. So she says that she looked to the right of her in the corner and she was thinking to herself, are those midgets? There were little people. Little people, she says, by the way, in her quote, because she's not trying to get sued. I'm probably going to get sued before her at this point. She says, they were little people. I don't want to say too much. Use your common sense. That's what she says, okay? Wallace, who shares her claims with TMZ, says that the little people were dressed as Harajuku Barbies in red lipstick, dressed revealing and cute. And upon closer look, she realized that these were not little people at the P. Diddy parties standing out in the public. These were actual minors dressed in inappropriate costumes, allegedly. I'm going to use the word allegedly because it's alleged at this point. This is what the eyewitness account is saying. So, Wallace also claims that the youngest guests were being admired and being hidden when it was convenient. She also said it was like, what are they doing here because this is an adult party? And claims she saw people high on drugs, drinking alcohol, and having sex at the same party the minors were at. Okay, so this is all coming straight from an alleged source who was at these freak parties. The rapper's legal team has already shut down Wallace's shocking claims, calling them categorically false and pure fiction. They stated Miss Tania Wallace has no credibility about her claims, and the freak-offs and minors are completely and categorically false. As we've said before, Mr. Combs cannot respond to every new publicity stunt, even in response to claims that are factually ridiculous. Diddy's attorney also added that Mr. Combs has full confidence in the facts and the integrity of the judicial process. So there you go, guys. P. Diddy's attorneys denying that he had minors dressed up in sexually explicit and revealing outfits at the Diddy parties out in the open. Now, I got to tell you guys, man, this to me doesn't sound fictitious at all, but we don't know at this point. And here's what's going against Diddy is that, like I said before, there's going to be fictitious things. There's going to be people making stuff up. But the one thing that goes against him is that some of the most ludicrous claims have actually been proven to be true. So when you look at the claims of him legally getting guardianship over Usher and bringing Usher and having him around sex and drugs and all these inappropriate things, 100% true. You look at the claims that Justin Bieber was left unattended with Diddy and all types of crazy shit happened. We have the videos of him saying, this is Justin Bieber, 48 hours with Diddy. Completely true. You look at the rumors about him beating the dog shit out of Cassie and hiding her in a room and doing all this stuff. This has all come out to be true as well. So what's working against Diddy and why I wouldn't want to be his lawyer is that most of the crazy shit people are saying is actually true. So at this point, people will believe anything. I mean, look, if you told me that Diddy had real midgets doing Cirque du Soleil from the ceiling, I would believe it because it sounds less crazy than the shit that's actually true. So he really doesn't have a leg to stand on here in the fact that he is a serial criminal. He's a mass criminal. He's a menace to society at the very least. So there's really no reason not to believe what's happening here. So up until this point, guys, the judge is still deciding if they're going to let Diddy out on $50 million bail. It's going to be decided this Friday, November 15th, if Diddy's going to get out of prison. And if he's denied bail for the third time, denied bond for the third time, then it looks like he's probably going to be in it for the long haul. The Diddy case, the trial is going to start in I believe, May 5th, 2025. It's sometime in May. So Diddy's really trying his hardest to get out before then. Do I think he's going to get out? I would say there's a chance. But I would also say I think that this legal system because here's the thing. The place he's being held in New York, they like to make an example out of people. So this is the same, Department of Justice office that went after Jeffrey Epstein, and these are the people who got him. So I feel like they're not going to let him walk easily, but $50 million, guys, I feel like they're going to start listening at least. They're going to take a listen to that offer, because the only thing more corrupt than a criminal is the justice system, my friends. That is the sad. Now that's the sad part of this stream. The only thing more corrupt than a criminal is the criminal justice system. And $50 million, let me tell you what. The judge might look at that and say he's not looking so guilty anymore. The judge might look at that and say this motherfucker is looking innocent. That's my worry. Okay? New York, you better get tough. And you better get tough fast. Because we cannot have a guy like Diddy getting away with this, because it will empower the power structure that allowed a guy like Diddy to exist in the first place. Because we have to remember, too, there are many other Diddys out there. Diddy might as well be... It's like a name that you could use for many people, because it goes far beyond one human being. So, if this Diddy gets off, all the other little Diddies in Hollywood are going to keep going. And they're going to learn how to have better techniques, and they're going to learn how to get away with it next time. I guarantee you, if Diddy gets off, the other serial predators in Hollywood will be taking notes. And I would also say that we'll probably see a similar model when it comes to them trying to get out in terms of legal structure. So this is a big deal, because again, if Diddy gets out, and if they try to drop this whole thing, again, just because he gets out doesn't mean the trial's not happening, so he can still be held accountable. But if he gets out, it just shows people who are doing this that it's going to be an easier time to do it. It's going to reinforce it. And patterns repeat themselves. You know, I truly don't believe that it's down to an individual. You know, there's no individual murderers. There's not just individual rapists. There's not just individual people like Diddy. They're all part of a bigger symptom. And there's many other people who get sucked into this stuff. You know, you let one murderer walk, it's going to implicate other murderers. So it's going to affect how everything gets handled. So honestly, I think this guy needs to be held to the full extent of the law, accountable. You know, there needs to be no lapse in accountability, no easy way out, no loopholes. Sean Diddy Combs needs to go down. And he needs to go down now. I don't want to see it be easy for him. Because guess what? It wasn't easy for the victims. It wasn't easy for Pac. It wasn't easy for Biggie. So why should it be easy for Sean Combs? It shouldn't be. He's an absolute monster. And I believe in innocent until proven guilty, but guess what? The second I saw that video of him beating Cassie, that's being proven guilty. Unless you can show me that that video was AI, or that video somehow wasn't Sean Combs, then Sean Combs, my friends, is guilty. I don't know how else you could put it. You see a video of a man beating a woman, and you're telling me there's a chance he could be innocent. He's not innocent. And we should go through the process, and we got to put him on trial. All that stuff is fine, but he's not innocent. Period. And that's why I'm not a judge. I'd throw the book at the guy now. I'd say life in prison, bitch. So it's unbelievable, guys. Sean Diddy Combs trying his best to get out of prison. He's absolutely desperate. I want to know what you guys think. Do you think Sean is going to get out? Is Diddy going to get out of prison at least until the trial? Or of jail. I got to stop saying prison. He's in jail. So let me know what you guys think. Orlando says he's going to get off. I hope not, Orlando. I definitely hope not. Eternal Warrior says the entire entertainment industry needs to be investigated. At this point, Warrior, I agree. At this point, I agree. And by the way, oh yeah, somebody says Jay-Z. Somebody says Jay-Z is next. I think Jay-Z is definitely up there. Diddy's going to call the shots over the phone. He probably already is at this point. Shirley hopes he doesn't get out. Rocket says he's a flight risk. Dame says trial is too far off for me. there you go, guys. Again, make your voices heard. Let me know what you thought in the chat down below. Would you get diddied for 40,000? Absolutely not. There's no price where I could get diddied. There is no price I could get diddied. If I wanted to, listen, let me tell you this. If there was a price, I would be the most famous man in the world right now. Trust me. Jay-Z, Beyonce, and Oprah are all next. Somebody said 50 Cent. I don't know about 50 Cent. Is he going to be... I feel like 50 Cent is hopefully innocent. I mean, shit, if we lose 50 Cent, guys, I'm going to be sad because he makes me laugh, bro. He posts the best shit online. He's hilarious. The one guy I actually worry about, though, is Kanye, because I've been hearing a lot of weird shit about Ye. You know, he admitted to playing pornography in his meetings at Nike. I guess he would walk up to people and show them naked pictures of Kim Kardashian, unsolicited. You know, he has multiple pending suits against him for sexual-related issues. So at the end of the day, I'm worried about Ye maybe being the next Diddy. I don't know. What do you guys think? Kanye, you think he could get in that situation? Or do you guys feel like he's too big for people to care? Here's the thing. If Diddy made better music, he would probably be in less trouble. Okay? If Diddy made Graduation, people would be a lot less mad at him. Okay? Because Kanye seems to get away with everything. It doesn't matter what Kanye does. Kanye could run over somebody in the street and he'd get away with it. I mean, is it because bro made Graduation? I don't know. Diddy didn't make Graduation, I'll tell you that much. Bro just made bad enough music that they're like, all right, I guess he's guilty. Fuck it. Can't Hold Me Down? Eh. I hope nobody thinks I'm serious when I say that. Imagine somebody clips that and they pretend I'm serious and then it's a whole thing. Yeah, Shirley, I didn't think 50 Cent was involved either because he was a whistleblower for Diddy, right? So I don't think that... See, people think I'm serious, so they're like, oh my God, you're a monster. How could you say that? It's called a joke. You guys, I think we've all forgotten what a joke is. Yeah, guys. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. Sean Diddy Combs. And by the way, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We got hats dropping soon. We got t-shirts dropping soon. Make sure to sow some love on the channel. Hopping over to another story for tonight. Joey Coco Diaz. How many people in the chat right now are fans of Joey Coco Diaz of the church family? Make sure to let me know as I'm going through this story. But great news coming out of New Jersey from Joey Coco Diaz. It looks like he's going to be relaunching the Church of What's Happening Now podcast with Lee Syatt. Of course, Joey and Lee left Los Angeles a couple of years ago and they ended the podcast. Joey went to Jersey. He started Uncle Joey's Joint, which was an awesome show. He then started back up with Lee for the check-in, which was on Zoom. And now it looks like Joey and Lee are going to go back to the church and they have a brand new studio that they're setting up in Jersey. And we have a little clip actually of Joey Diaz setting up the podcast studio. Let's take a look at this.
Let the bitches loose, bitches. It's Monday. Uncle Joey didn't forget about you cocksuckers. Here we are. You want to see the new office? Here we go, cocksuckers. I got some chairs. I got some carpet. I got some more chairs. There's Lee Syatt. There's Georgie Borgi. There's the next mayor, the next governor of New Jersey. How you doing? And there's your Uncle Joey making it happen. I told you, motherfuckers. We still got to texture the walls and put some pictures up. But it's coming together.
Check-in from Uncle Joey over in New Jersey. Now, guys, I got to tell you, I am so unbelievably happy to hear this news from Joey Diaz. He's back in action. He's getting into a studio, which is great. And this coincides, guys, for me, with a really big movement which is going to be starting in the podcast space, which is the escape from the Zoom world. For anybody who doesn't know what I mean by the Zoom world, I mean the Zoom platform for virtual conversations and video calls. Ever since the pandemic, the podcast space has been absolutely overrun by Zoom and overtaken by people in little boxes in different parts of the world having conversations. And the main thing I'm seeing when it comes to podcasting, having been in this space since the beginning, is a real pushback to the whole Zoom thing. People are hungry to get back to that real authenticity of two people in a room face to face. And even if they're not in the room face to face, there's so many more creative ways to go about being on Zoom. I mean, we looked at the clip of Harvey Levin earlier with Ray J. Harvey's in a room, he has a TV camera set up. Ray J's in a different room with a camera set up. But they're not in two boxes, horizontal boxes next to each other. They're making it more dynamic. They're bringing us into the room of each person. I just feel like there's so many more creative ways to do interviews, even if the person isn't right there in the room with you, than to have two squares on Zoom. And I'm so glad Joey Diaz is doing this, because I actually decided as well that in 2025, the traditional Zoom interview is absolutely dead, okay? I refuse to do interviews anymore with two squares on the screen, because I feel like those two squares are akin to a creative prison. Truly, it's like a little box. You know, people say they can't be put in a box. Being on Zoom is being put in a box, and I feel like it's killing us creatively. Now, don't get me wrong. I've had a lot of very successful interviews on Zoom. Okay, I've made thousands of dollars doing interviews on Zoom, and we've had great conversations with people. But I feel like we're shortchanging ourselves if we don't come up with a more creative way, and everything that we really had from the pandemic, I think, needs to go. Everything that we did out of necessity because we couldn't do it any other way needs to go. And if we're going to keep going with virtual interviews, I think we have to do it in a more innovative way. And I've already started to do that on my channel. You look at my interviews, I have a separate camera in my space now to film me when I'm virtual, and then we'll broadcast the other person's video from where they're at. But we're taking it out of those boxes. And like I say, I'm just so happy to see this. So shout out to Joey Diaz. I truly think the podcast world is changing. It seems to be going back to the way it started, which was two people sitting in a room having a conversation. It definitely has evolved through the years. We've seen a lot of different iterations, whether it's in person, whether it's on Zoom. But now I think we're really going back to that raw conversation, that one-on-one convo, and just really breaking it down. Two people, two mics, and a conversation. And we saw it with Trump on Rogan. Trump on Rogan was like a reset button for podcasting, because it took us back to square one. Podcasts evolved into self-help shows and advice shows and dating shows and trivia and all these crazy, wacky podcasts that we see. True crime podcasts and thematic shows, series, all this stuff. And now I feel like we've sort of burnt out with that type of podcast, and it's going back to what it should have been in the beginning, which is two people sitting down and talking. So I'm very excited for 2025 as somebody who's a pioneer in this space, if I may say so myself. I've been doing it since day one. I'm looking forward to being more of a pioneer and pushing it further with everybody else out there, like Joey Diaz, who are pioneers as well. We got to take the power back, man. Like Rage Against the Machine said, motherfuckers, we're taking the power back. I'm sick of sitting in a goddamn room and talking on Zoom like a jerk off. I'm done. Okay, I'm done. If I can meet you face to face, we're going to meet. I mean, I've had people in my own city doing Zoom interviews with me. That can't happen. That cannot under any circumstances happen. There's no excuse, and we got to elevate. We got to evolve. So subscribe, guys, to the channel. A lot of great interviews coming out. Of course, we got our reaction streams like this where we talk about Diddy. We'll break down the case. We'll talk about Trump here and there. We'll talk about Biden. But this is really what we're going back to, is that raw interview, the raw style. And it's a beautiful thing. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Subscribe. I don't know why I couldn't say it. Hit it up above. Hit the like button as well. and make sure to go check out some more of my content. We'll be back with another stream, just a short, sweet one today, and wanted to talk some shit with you guys. So hope you have a great night. Catch you on the next one.